YouTube family, Paul here. Today we're working on a 2000 Sunfire with a 2.4 twin cam engine on it. I just pulled the serpentine belt off. It's a 15 millimeter. I use a 15 millimeter crow's foot on one of those idler pulley tensioners. You just get that nut on there and push it back towards the driver's compartment, towards the rear of the car, and it'll loosen up your idler pulley and you can get your serpentine belt off. While we're pulling the air conditioner compressor off of this, we're going to throw a new serpentine belt on. This car is getting the pulley noise. The bearing on the compressor is starting to go. So what we're going to attempt to do is replace the bearing to save the expense of throwing a new compressor on. The air conditioner compressor is working fine. That's not the issue, it's the bearing. Okay, what size socket you got on there?
5/8.
No glasses again, huh?
5/8.
You're using the wrong socket. It's a metric. Try this.
Yeah, that's
It's a 16 millimeter socket to take those compressor bolts out. Pretty simple stuff. I'm not even going to bother filming that. We're hoping it's a snap ring type, that the pulley is held on with a snap ring. Be easier to get that pulley off. We're hoping to do it without disconnecting the compressor from the car. That way we don't have to evacuate the system and recharge the refrigerant. Do have the parts though to do so if that's what entailed with this. We have the dryer accumulator and the orifice tube. We'll just have to pick up the compressor. That's on standby at Advanced Auto. We decided not to go with AutoZone because everything out of that place seems to be absolute garbage. I want to give a little shout out to the guys at Keeler Mercedes-Benz in the parts department. They were very helpful to me, but they couldn't help me. I needed a drive shaft for the 2001 E430 4MATIC Mercedes. I had to get one custom made because that universal joint is a staked in type and it's non-replaceable, and I could not find access to that part anywhere on the internet or from any shops. So the only way to resolve the issue was a new drive shaft. $600 drive shaft. Oh boy. Okay, we'll be back. This air conditioner compressor out, 16 mil. You got 2 bolts on the bottom, then there's another 2 bolts right up on the top that go into the block. You see that? It's a long bolt. You got to get around to the front of the compressor to get that out. Then these are sleeved where it slides off. So we got to get those 2 top bolts out. Those are probably 16 mil too, right? Are they 16 mil? Get the ratchet and find out.
They look. I can't get. Come up here.
You can't get to it?
It's got to move.
What's got to move? The alternator?
No.
Got to take the alternator out to get to it?
There's a plastic thing with the wires. You got to
take the plug off, the connector for the compressor clutch.
I'm trying to pull it up. It looks like it slides right on top of here.
It's got a clip. It's got to have a clip on it. You got to suppress the clip or lift the clip up.
Look how it looks. Does that slide off?
Yeah, you got to lift this. You got to lift the red piece and pop it off.
No, I was talking about this whole piece to get to them 2 bolts.
That slides right off of that bracket. It's supposed to slide off of that bracket.
Then we'd be able to get in there easy.
Yeah, it's got to be slid off of there somehow. I would hit it with penetrating oil. Try to loosen that up. It's probably all corroded on there. Is the light blinking on this camera?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to figure out how to get this little electric piece off of here. I don't know what the hell that is, to be honest with you. Looks like it might be hooked up to a vacuum line. It is. Looks like, yeah. Then there's a electrical connector in the back. You got to lift that little red piece up and snap that out. Got to get them out to get those top bolts out on that compressor. It's always fun. GM makes it easy for you. Saturns are the worst. Vacuum line off. I had to take a screwdriver right in between there and manipulate that to get this piece out so it would open. You got to get this piece over there like that to get that vacuum line off. And we got the plug out on that little module, whatever that module is. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. Some kind of actuator. Oh, there's another vacuum line on it too. See the other vacuum line back here?
We took that off.
There's another one that's still on there.
Oh, yeah.
And now this plug, we got to get that compressor clutch plug off.
Now
what?
Let's get this one off. I'll loosen it, let it hang, and we'll be able to get it from the bottom.
Get what? That plug?
Get that plug from the bottom.
I don't think you're going to get that plug from the bottom. There's not a lot of slack in that wire. Let me try a small screwdriver. I'm going to try to get a small screwdriver and see if I can lift that little latch on there. We can't get that latch off and get that out. These are little pain in the ass things that make jobs a headache. Alright, the problem we're having here is this little retainer clip down there. I hope you can see that little gray clip. Trying to release that and manipulate that plug off. Very awkward position to try to do both things. Where's that other screwdriver? Where did that go? My hands don't fit in here well. Maybe with the bigger screwdriver I can get it. Right, it's off. It's up now. Now you got to try to get the plug out. I think I might have slipped off. Let me see. Let me see if I slipped off on that lock. It slipped off of the lock. Let me get that lock again. Alright, now the lock is open. Oop, keeps coming off. Not going to be able to get in there with that plier.
No?
Try to get it now. I got the latch up.
Can't move it with my hand. I'm going to break some. Can't get a grip on the fucking shit.
My hands are too big to fit in there. Let me see if the lock slipped. I felt it move. The lock slipped again. Looks like it's moved. Yeah, it's off. It's over the thing now. We're over the tab. Now you just got to get it out. It's off the tab. That's a pain in the ass. I had to get the screwdriver under that release tab, and it's kind of like frozen on there. I can see the little tab that it grabs on. Make sure you don't crack that.
You want to do it with this?
No. Let you break it. I don't know if I can film this, guys. I'm trying to film this for you, but hard to try to get in there. I'm grabbing a compressor, not the plug. Come on this side, you can probably get a better grip. Reach it in with your right hand. Make sure you don't wind up pushing it back on.
No. I got it.
Came off, right?
I got it. You fuck, come on.
Make sure you don't break it.
I'm trying not to.
Break it, you're screwed.
It's on the bottom. It had two.
It's got one of those waterproof seals. It can't have two clips on it. It's only got one clip.
Okay, it had two clips on it. It was stuck on the bottom.
Let me see it.
Look at it. Look at it.
Let go.
I gotta hold it. Look at it.
Yep, it does have two clips.
Okay.
That's absolutely retarded. Push that blue ring back on there.
Now.
That's retarded.
Now.
They make these like impossible to get off.
This.
Here, let me
is
film
top.
this plug.
This is top.
This is the top that I lifted up to get off of
You
there,
got
but these
something to mark it?
retards got one on the bottom. It only goes on one way, Frank. It doesn't really, it only goes on one way. Let me get a marker and mark the top anyway. We'll paint that black, all right? Mark the top black.
I got a mark in it.
Fun stuff. The scientists had the release on the bottom of it, which is real nice.
Is that it?
Can't tell. No, it's still on the bottom. You got to try to lift that one piece off. Watch out. Let me try it. Let me see if I can get it with my finger. I don't think I can.
You got it.
If your car is exactly like this one, that release was on the bottom of that. Same scenario as this. You got to get that little loop over the other side. Now you can get to those bolts, right?
Yep. Took it longer to get to the bolts than it's probably
Yeah, that's the way it goes. What do you do with the socket?
I need a small extension.
Sorry guys, my sinuses have been screwed for like weeks here. I don't know what's going on. It's a wobble extension, that should make it easier.
I hope it's
Alright,
16.
gonna try to get these top bolts out. Check that they're 16 mil first.
That's 16 mil.
Alright, you gotta check that the bolts are 16 mil.
Yeah, that's
They
what I
should
can
be
check.
16 mil. I would get the hardest one first. We'll check it for size anyway. That might not be 16, that's 15.
First of all, it's deep wall.
First of all, what?
I think it's a deep wall.
That's too big. That's not the right size socket.
It's not the right size.
That's like a 14 millimeter. Huh?
Okay.
14 or 13.
Where's 16? Put that back.
Leave it out, because we're using it again. I think your extension is too long, to be honest with you.
You want me
I don't have a shorter one, though. I don't think I have a shorter one than that. I need an 1.5 inch extension.
I might have to see if I can do it.
Why don't you use the longer ratchet? You need the extension, don't you?
Maybe not. If it clears that little piece, which they put there, the fuck is?
Get a deep wall socket.
Okay, I'm on
Get a
that.
deep wall socket. I think that's even too big. Is that too big? That
Yeah.
looks like it's too big. That's too big.
Yeah, that's
13. Try a 12 just to be safe. I think it's a 13 mil.
Let's tighten in.
You gotta pull it off. Let me give you a deep wall. Wait. Here, do it with a deep wall. That'll reach past the other thing. Top bolts, I believe, are 13 millimeter. Getting in there with a deep wall socket, that seems the best route on that. They're not even bolts and nuts. Are they nuts or bolts and nuts, right?
Nuts. So we got to get this back up on the nuts. Right?
Back on the studs.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. I don't know if they're nuts. They could be. I think that whole stud comes out. I don't know how you would manipulate that air conditioner. You can't. You don't have that much room to get over them. They're too long. There's no way to do that. That goes all the way through the compressor.
That holds this on.
That whole stud's coming out. That nut ain't coming off. That whole stud's gonna come out.
Yeah?
Yeah, I believe so.
I hope so.
I don't know if you guys can see anything here. This is real difficult trying to get the camera in there.
That loosens that piece. Okay? That's a different size. That's a 16.
The other one is a 16?
Yep.
What loosens what piece?
That loosens that. This just holds this on.
The bracket?
Yep. That's
no, it doesn't. That goes. Oh, yeah, it is. Let me see.
That's the piece that holds it. That bolt holds it.
No, that also holds a compressor on it. It goes right through there. Or maybe it does. That might not hold the compressor. It may just be 3 bolts that hold the compressor then.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
No, I think that one goes all the way through the compressor into the block.
Let me take the other one off first. It just falls.
Need to be a man.
Nah, I was doing it the wrong way.
Doing it the wrong way?
Yeah.
What's the wrong way?
Not holding this and trying to pull it off like that. Well, you thought there's no wrong way? What is it? Nope. Next time smaller.
It's not 16?
No. Before I put it on. Get this out of there.
Sorry I can't get better filming for you guys of this.
That looks on.
You're gonna have a hard enough time getting in there with your tools. What are you doing? Is it a 15?
Yeah, I gotta get this out of here. All this stuff out of here.
All right, I'm gonna pause recording, guys. I'm gonna bore you with this. It's 15 millimeter bolt. The asshole bolt that is very hard to get out. Did that with a swivel head ratchet with a 15 millimeter. You better have a fine tooth ratchet because you got very little movement for a ratchet in there. If you got a coarse tooth ratchet, you're not gonna make much headway. Now we gotta see
The fuck's holding it in?
that stud. I'm telling you, that's a stud that goes all the way through the compressor. That goes all the way through the compressor. What was that, a 14 millimeter?
Yeah.
There was 14 millimeter, right?
Yeah.
No, it was a 13 millimeter.
Why would they even bother? Just to make it fucking
And I got to take that stud out. I believe that whole stud comes out. That nut doesn't turn on the stud. It turns the stud. This vacuum actuator is held on there with a 13 mil, and then under that is another 16 millimeter that takes the compressor out of the mount to the engine block.
Where are we putting all the parts? Take it off.
Putting them right here. I'm gonna go get it. I don't have any more trays. I'm laying them right there.
This is for that.
Put it right here.
Okay.
Now that should be a 16 mil.
That makes more sense, don't it? Nope. Yeah.
You gotta manipulate the ratchet, the socket, move it.
Yeah, I know.
6-sided sockets are better for grabbing a nut stronger and not rounding them out, but they're harder to manipulate in tight areas, you know? 12-sided socket is easier to get into a tight space like
I
that.
hope it's loose now.
It is loose now, that's it. Now the compressor's gonna drop out and break your vacuum line, your AC line, if we don't watch out. You know that?
Yep.
So let me make sure that compressor doesn't fall.
Well, it's still on the bottom bolts.
Resting on there?
Yeah.
All right. You want some broccoli? Want some broccoli?
That's been there for months.
Stuff lasts, huh? Good broccoli. Must have preservatives in it. Let me go make sure there's no garbage on my lawn. Am I recording? No. Oh, I am recording. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to be wasting your time with that nonsense. I'm going to give you a break until we get that other bolt out, that other 16 mil. You're pulling this out, make sure that you remember on the left side is the big bolt with the little stud on it for that 13 millimeter nut that vacuum actuator goes on. Don't want to mix them up. Have problems and have to do it again. Alright, he's having fun. There's some joke. What's the joke?
Yeah, I backed it all the way out.
And you can't get the ratchet off, right?
Get the ratchet off.
Yes, you can.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Got the ratchet off.
Taking that out all the way because I was afraid that if this stayed in there, we moved the compressor, it might puncture the condenser or the radiator.
I don't know how far it's going to go down.
I don't think we're going to get that pulley off with this connected. I really don't. I think I'm going to have to break the system. I'm going to have to open the system up. You know that?
That's true. See.
This thing's already discharged anyway. That's why we're not worrying about it. We're not evacuating the system because there's no Freon in it. If you do have Freon in your system, to be kind to the environment, take it to a garage and have them evacuate and recover the Freon. It's not Freon, the 134A refrigerant. Okay, since we're trying to take a shortcut that may not work, I explained we're trying to take this pulley off with the compressor connected on the system, so we don't have to pull the whole compressor out. We're going to pull these little plastic retainer clips off on the undercarriage plastic, and I think pull a tire off so we have room to work on the face of the compressor. What are you doing down there? Here's a tool. You got to just lift the center out with them and then pull the back out. These are handy little tools. These inner body panel tools. You get right under the little clip, lift that, and then lift the rest of it out. All right, I'm going to pause this. I don't want to kill you guys with dead time of nothingness. Thanks for watching and hanging in there. Hopefully it'll get interesting. I try to bring you guys some useful information. I hope I do that for you. We decided to pull the whole compressor out of the car. It's easier to work on it that way. It was a 16 mil bolt. Be careful not to get dirt in those holes. And now we're going to have to replace those O-rings. And when you do replace those O-rings, you got to lubricate them with the PAG oil so they seat upright, or you can damage the O-rings. We're going to wind up losing some of the oil when he flipped this over to work on it anyway.
Okay. Well, under that might be a snap ring, right?
Let me see.
When you take the clutch off.
Yeah. Yep. Gotta take that off now.
What size?
I think 10 millimeter.
I gave you the
10 or 12 millimeter.
What?
Am I recording? This is blinking?
Yes.
Alright, got the compressor out. 13 mil bolt, I believe. I'm hoping this has a snap ring on it. Oh shit. I gotta get my big pliers so we can hold that. Let me get my big pair of channel locks.